Hi, and good afternoon. I would like to talk to you tonight about um, marijuana, whether or not marijuana should be legal for recreational use. We know that it is already legal for recreational use in Colorado and in Washington State. We know that it has been used uh, as medical um, in several states for a while. So I'm not talking so much about whether it should be used or whether it should be legal as a medical drug. I'm actually talking about recreational use. Um, and so I would like to pass on some information and some facts that I have found about why I think it should not be legalized in our states, besides the ones that it's already legalized in. According to the National Institute on Drug Use, marijuana has a profound effect on the brain. How does marijuana affect the brain? When marijuana is smoked, it very rapidly enters your lungs, where it is then absorbed into the bloodstream, and from there the bloodstream carries it to our brains. If you've ever heard of Dr. Drew Pinsky, he does one of the reality shows on TV about folks that are there recovering from drugs. And Dr. Drew has his own show, has written books, has videos, and he has been dealing with drug addiction in persons for decades. And Dr. Drew, one of his comments was, or is, and I quote, "It would be malpractice to say that cannabis isn't addictive. Anybody who's experienced it, actually been addicted to it, knows how profound that addiction is." And that is coming from Dr. Drew, a medical professional that has worked around and with people that have been addicted to drugs and that are or were marijuana users. I found an article where Amsterdam also has recreational marijuana, recreationally is legal in Amsterdam. And in that article, it stated that they can actually smoke in coffee houses. And one of the things that has happened is that these coffee houses are now being raided, broken into. So there's a lot of crime that has been taking place in the coffee houses where they're housing and storing the marijuana. Also read an article that it was a study that was conducted. A recent Northwestern University study found that marijuana users have abnormal brain structure and poor memory, and that chronic marijuana abuse may lead to brain changes resembling that of schizophrenia. The study also reported that the younger the person starts using marijuana, the worse those effects would become. The American Medical Association goes one step further with that. And the American Medical Association says heavy cannabis use in adolescence causes persistent impairments in neurological performance and IQ. And use is associated with increased rates of anxiety, mood changes, psychotic thoughts, and disorders. According to data that was collected by CBS Local, they also talked about marijuana use and driving under the influence of being on or while someone has been smoking marijuana. And CBS Local states that driving while intoxicated has become a major concern, still surrounding the legalization of marijuana. Data that was collected by CBS Local indicates that 1 out of every 9 drivers that were involved in a fatal car accident had tested positive for THC. More than a third, 37% of treatment admissions reported in the treatment episode data set, or TEDS, TEDS, collected from state-funded programs also referred through the criminal justice system, says that marijuana was an identified drug of abuse of 57% of the individuals referred to treatment by a criminal justice system. Now, according to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, this was a publication from 2009, it says if marijuana was legalized, the increase in users would be both large and rapid, with subsequent increases in addiction. There's a couple important lessons that can be learned from that article. When we hear about smoking, how harmful it is, alcohol, how harmful it is, and then everyone will say, well, smoking marijuana, smoking pot doesn't do any more than alcohol. But I'm thinking about even with smoking in a coffee house or on a sidewalk, if it's legalized, there's secondhand smoke. And if it's legalized, would they ever have it where you can walk into, say, an Applebee's, like we can now, and order a drink? Can you walk in and smoke a joint? Or would it be more controlled? We don't know the answers. So what I would like to do with the information that I've given you and the facts that I have presented, what I would like to do is just ask yourself a few key questions. Is legalizing marijuana going to make this a better country or a worse one? Would you want to live in a neighborhood filled with people who regularly smoke marijuana? Would you want your kids regularly smoking pot? Now is the time to think about it, because although it's easy to thoughtlessly legalize a drug like marijuana, when things go wrong somewhere down the road, have we been a part of voting or helping legalize a drug that has been proven to do damage to our brain, to our memory, to our motory senses, and to our thought processes? And this was just information I'd like to pass on with some facts that I found through some articles and magazines. Thank you for your time.